Hello everybody, lovely to see you here. My name's Emma Varnum and I'm a crochet designer and blogger and author, and I'm delighted to have you here. So I thought it might be a good idea to give you an update about where I've got to and my stash heap challenge. It's also, I was in the garden just a minute ago and it started to rain and it's July. So I've grabbed myself a coffee, I've got one here, and I thought, oh well, I planned already to give you a bit of an update, and it's very dimpsy in here and I'm sorry for that, but yeah, I just thought there was time to do that and I would give you a bit of an update. So I've finished all the squares, and I have joined all of the squares together, which is really exciting. I should tell you how many squares there are. I can't remember. I will put it in the notes below, but it's the size of the blanket, which I will measure, but it's sort of like a good size for a British single bed, and it makes a really good footer for a king size bed or a super king size bed. It won't cover the whole thing, but it's a really good size. So I thought I'd show you that. And what else have I been making? So I'm not tease you anymore. I will put a bit of video showing you the whole thing, but this, I can't really even show you the width. So it's wide and I'm really pleased with how it's gone. I've tended to make up the blocks in a sort of 5 by 5 block, and then I change, so these are the reds, and then I go on to the oranges, and if you go back through the playlist you can see how I've joined them, and I've got on my blog there's a special page for Stash Heap Challenge which gives you the diagram of the stitches. It's so simple. There are many different postage stamp or Battenberg patterns that you can copy. My version of that is there, but this is really just a sort of a yarn colour suggestion. Oranges, the yellows, which I didn't have as many yellows as I wanted. I had quite a lot of greens because I've done so many succulents and cacti, so that's nice. Blues, I've got loads of blues, and I haven't touched the sides, you know, seriously. There's still more stash smashing to do because there is still loads. But what was really worrying me was the purples, and I've managed to do purple. I haven't bought any additional yarn apart from the cream. So I think if you were asking me how much yarn I've used, but obviously I've used different bits and balls. This one's a Jimmy Beans wool, and it's probably the most variegated. Lots of mine was Stylecraft Special DK, but then the odd one will come in, which is that's a batik yarn. So the odd one would be there where I've tried to use that little bit up. And I think for each colour, and there are 6 colour ways, so red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, and the variant shades around that. Each colour is about 100 grams of wool, I think. And I think I've used about 600 grams of cream. Now I had quite a lot of cream in my stash, so that didn't seem too difficult. But you might have like a black or a grey in your stash and you use that as your contrast colour. I started playing around with some whites and I didn't enjoy it. If I was really being really purist about it, I would have used the whites and the cream. But I unpicked it So there you go. But it's huge and I'm really pleased with it, and I'll show you a bit of video which shows you the whole thing, but I hope you like it. So there you go. Yeah, it is quite fun. There you go. So, but how do I edge it? If you were making quilts, I learned this only last weekend. I did a quilting course, which was really, really good fun. And the lady who's teaching me, Lucy, who's brilliant, and I think her handle is Charmed About You, and she is a brilliant teacher and a brilliant quilter. Anyway, she was talking about, and you will have heard of this, but I hadn't heard about it, but was quilters audition the binding or audition the edging, and I thought that was quite funny. For us crocheters, I think it'd be quite hard to audition. You have to kind of, I mean, you can sample. I think you could sample what edging you wanted to do, but we can't. I suppose the auditioning might be putting coloured yarns next to it. But yeah, I like the phrase, but it doesn't quite work for us. So I think I know what to do, because it's so colourful. And what I'll do is I'll put you overhead in a minute. Because it's so colourful, you need something really plain. And you could not edge it at all. It would be absolutely fine not to edge this. But as you can see, where I've joined, and I've joined with a double crochet stitch. That would be single crochet if you're in the US, through the back loop of both squares. So I put and there is a video about this, so I put the squares together, and then the furthest away loop I've crocheted through that loop. What happens on the edge though, can you see it becomes like a sort of scalloped edge, goes down at the sides. And so what I thought I'd show you in a minute, I think I'm just going to do one round, and when I get to the edge, I'm going to use a larger stitch so that I try and get that edge really straight. So in a minute I'll just show you that. But yeah, I don't know where it's going to go, but it might be stolen by my son or not, or it might go on our bed. But it's really colourful and it's really joyful. I don't think it's going to go as an outside blanket right now. If it got taken outside, I wouldn't get really upset about it, but it's not quite there yet. And also, yeah, it's cream. It's, you know, like when you first make a blanket, we know, don't we? It's a bit precious for a little bit. This washes beautifully, this wool. Most of wools here will wash beautifully, but yeah, no, we're not talking muddy lawn right immediately. I mean, we'll be less precious later on, but not immediately. So before I show you how I'm going to edge it, I also thought I'd show you how I got on with my other stash busting. So this is a knitted blanket that I'm knitting for my son. I don't know if I've shown you, had I done 4 terraces of houses? This uses, it's not exactly the same, but it uses a pattern called Safe at Home, which you can have a look at on Ravelry. And I started and I've got about halfway through. I need to speed up now. I got distracted with the Stash Heap Challenge one. So I'm halfway through and now I need to step up because this needs to be ready for sort of October. And I'm pleased with it. It is so colourful and lovely. This is using Aaron's stash, essentially. and it's quite fun, but I really need to get a move on now. So I'll stop being distracted by this blanket when I've finished. And also I finished finally this lop-eared bunny. Some of my followers on Instagram, and hello if you did make a suggestion, have made suggestions for her name, and I haven't chosen one yet. I had some really good suggestions, but I made her a little granny little cape. How cute is this? I thought she'd be really sweet. So there you go, my bunny, and I've just finished. Oh, and I noticed not quite, she hasn't got a fluffy tail yet, so I need to do that. Oh, hello. She's really fun. Anyway, I need to finish her properly with the tail, but hello. Yes. So that's something else I've been working on. So those are the 3 patterns I've been working on. I've got another one, a blanket, but I really need to do the edging of my stash heap challenge. It's not easy to say, is it? If you've been doing one, would you share it with me? I'd love to see. You can do that via Instagram or leave a comment here. I love seeing the comments here. It really encourages me, and it's lovely. The community here on YouTube is absolutely gorgeous. So if you've been doing something to reduce down your stash, I'd love to know what it is. I love seeing really good ideas for stash reducing, stash busting. So yeah, if you've got something that you've really enjoyed, I'd love to see it. And if you're making a blanket like this, I really doubly would like to see. So pop over to the blog if you want to see how many squares, etc., and how big the squares are. Go across, and there's a special page for it there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you overhead, and then I'm just going to show you, I think, how I'm going to edge this blanket. So it's not easy to show you the whole blanket, stash heap challenge blanket. I put it on the floor. I haven't edged it yet, but I just wanted to show you the different tones. As you know, I'd worried about the purples, that I wasn't going to have enough purples, but I did. And then I've tried to use some of the kind of pure colours in here. It's really dark and dimpsy. Can you believe the middle of summer? I'm in Britain. But I'm pleased with how it merges. And I did it in 5 by 5 blocks, and I pull all the colours together, and I've joined it all through the back loop. Now I'm thinking about edging. So here I am at the edge, and what I've decided to do is keep things really simple. I'm using the cream yarn that I've used. I've got some left, and what I thought would be nice is just to do a little, just one row around the edge to encapsulate the whole blanket. As I have been joining through the back loop, that creates a little, just quite a nice little seam. You get the front loop, and it gives a bit of definition. And I like to join granny squares in lots of different ways, but this is the way I decided to do it. And you can see some mistakes in here. Can you see? If I was making this for a magazine, I would have unpicked it, but I decided I just wasn't going to do that. So I've kind of not gone into back loops here, just to show you. Anyway, what I'm doing is I've used a 3.5mm hook all the way through. Can you see how worn it is? Look, that's a favourite hook if ever I saw one. and just to match where I've joined, I'm going into the back loop. So along this edge, I'm going to do one, the majority of the stitches I'll just do a double crochet or a single crochet for everybody in the US. But the 2 stitches before the join, I'm going to do a half treble stitch, and this is a longer stitch, and that if you're in the US it's a half double crochet. It's a longer stitch, and it will compensate for the dip that naturally happens with the join on the edge. The squares in the middle of the blanket seem to straighten themselves out, and you could block every square. I didn't. I just enjoyed making and joining as I went. But then in the join, I am going to go into the joined seam, and I'm going to also, I've looked at it and I'm actually deciding to go like 1 stitch down. You can't believe it, it's really difficult to do now. And I'm going to do another half treble there, and then I'm going to do 2 more half trebles or half double if you're in the US, and then I'm going to, oh gosh, I didn't go into the back loop. There you go. Do that again. Going into the back loop with 2 half trebles or half double if you're in the US, and then carry on with a double crochet stitch or a single crochet stitch for the US across the body of the square. And then we've got 2 more. I'm going to do a half treble. It just is a longer stitch. Now sometimes you're going to get, this is where the end of the square has been. It's hard to do, but there you go. And then I'm going to do another half treble, 2 more. First 2 the back loops, and that just creates a straighter line. Can you see that? It's creating a straighter edge, and it evens out the literal natural dip. Now I will work to the corner. I'll just show you what I'm going to do in the corner. It doesn't have to be complicated. I'm doing very simple double crochet for UK terms and single crochet for US terms into the back loop of the square, and then probably, honestly, for the pain in the neck that it is, I'm going to do into the corner, I'm going to do a double, 1 chain and another into the corner, and then I'm going to carry on with a double crochet. So I've just done in that corner double crochet, 1 chain, double crochet. If you're in the US, it'll be single crochet, 1 chain, single crochet, and carrying on around the corner. So there you go. That's how I'm going to do my edging. There is a lot of edging to do, but I enjoy it. I enjoy doing this last bit of finishing, and it is a really great little finishing project to do while watching the telly and just watching a film or something like that. It's a really calming exercise to do, and I'm going to enjoy doing it. So I'm just evening out those seams, and that's the combination that really works for me. If at the seam you find actually you just need to do 1 half treble either side of the seam and 1 half treble on the seam, that that's absolutely fine. I found that I needed to do 2. It seemed to work better for me. Just experiment, and you'll get a sense of what's evening out your joining seam best. You may even want to do a full treble, but I found that this is the best option for me. So basically at the seam there are 5 half trebles, 1 in the seam and 2 either side, and then I carry on with a double treble. So I really hope you've enjoyed this video. I think we might share one more video when it's all complete, but I really hope that you've enjoyed whittling down your stash or been inspired perhaps to have a go. There's a whole playlist of videos about Stash Heap Challenge, and I've tried to give you some simple hints and tips. Thank you for following along. Do go to the blog where there is a special page on the Stash Heap Challenge, and also there are signed copies of my book either there on the blog shop or on Etsy. Please do have a look at those. If you would like to have a notification when we next do a video, then please press the bell icon and like and subscribe to the channel, because that's really encouraging for me to do some more videos where I can share top tips and hints that I've learned along the way in my crochet journey. So thank you so much for joining, and happy crochet.